Happy Christmas Eve. Parish Orphans and Retrogrades. Timothy Gordon here, doing what could be one of the last shows of the year. Definitely the last show before Christmas, because I want the time off. God bless you guys. I got my friend Boss here. What's up, Boss? Merry Christmas Eve.
How's it going, man? Yeah, doing really well. Christmas Eve. Is it Eve squared or Eve to the second power? Either way you want to say it is fine.
It's just Eve times 2.
Oh, okay. Well, Eve times 2. Yeah, absolutely. Your haters will hope this is the last show ever, but you had a dramatic pause and said of the year. So that's good to note.
There was an implied drum roll in that pause.
Yeah, exactly.
just for all of the losers on Twitter. So we're going to do this show is we're going to go through some of our collectively, yours and my very favorite winter of severe sickness and death carols, which is what Joe Biden has asked good American citizens to do. What is your favorite winter of severe sickness and death carols? This is, of course, derivative of a very divisive message that he left on whitehouse.gov about those of you who are vaxxed. Good for you. Merry Christmas. I forget what else he said, but he said, if you're not vaxxed, you're in for a severe winter, a winter of severe sickness and death. So, of course, we're celebrating our favorite Christmas carols, which should be renamed for all time Winter of Severe Sickness and Death carols. We'll do that in a second. First, I want to plug the hottest deal of COVID, the hottest deal of the decade, if you're ready. If you go to timothyjgordon.com and you click Retrograde Academy tab, we now have classes on the most extreme, severe winter of sickness and death, low prices ever for you parish orphans and retrogrades. Classes, the live classes begin in late January, but better deal still than even those are the recording classes. Listen to this register, this catalog of course offerings, as community college calls it. The live classes beginning in late January will be Latin 1B. It's still Latin 1, but it's the second semester of it. Introduction to the Constitution in the run up to the Dobbs versus Jackson holding this summer, most important Supreme Court case in the history of America. Tolkien Seminar, Introduction to Middle Earth. Do you know anything about Middle Earth? Well, if you don't, take this class. And even if you do, it's going to be a really fun class taught by my friend Anthony, another friend Anthony. And then Church History. Those 4 classes will be live, offered by Retrograde Classical Academy. But listen to even cheaper, even more affordable, I should say, are the register of our pre-recorded classes. You can take at any time. You still get access to an office hour with moi, but you could take these at any time, and they're even cheaper. The recorded classes, you get all the lectures, tons of good stuff. You got Aristotle's Ethics, Latin 1A, if you want to catch up in 2 weeks and crash so that you can get in Latin 1B, do that. Rules for Retrogrades class, that's a really quick 10-week class. Catholic Republic class, New Testament, Catholic Social Teaching number 6, and U.S. History number 7, True U.S. History. We call our church history course, which is only being offered live. We'll eventually stick it on the register of pre-recorded classes. We call the church history class True European History. It was built by the church, but U.S. history is definitely there. So we got 4 live classes, 7 pre-recordeds, and it is the best deal on the entire internet. So we're here today to talk about, having said that distasteful plug out of the way, what's your favorite Christmas carol? And why do you call it a Christmas carol? That's kind of weird. You ought to be calling it a winter of severe sickness and death carol. Isn't that fair?
Well, my question is, whatever presidents you like or dislike, okay, that's aside from this. That's something that you would say if you were talking about, like, say, your enemies, right? Like during, like, before a war, like you're going to have a season of severe injuries and death or whatever it is. And now it's like, oh, well, we're just going to throw this back at the American people during the most joyous time of the year, the birth of our Lord. So I just wanted to see the dichotomy there of how things have, how the turntables.
Right? How the turntables have That's a Michael Scottism. Very, very lovely emplacement by you there. Also, so I forget who it was.
It's so weird.
Was it Michael Brennan Doherty? Just posted on Twitter Joe Biden's speech saying he wanted to unify all Americans side by side with the White House message of 5 nights ago, that said, the vaxxed, you're good. The unvaxxed, you're going to have a winter of severe sickness and death. Enjoy, buckle up, or whatever it was. It was genius. It was
beautiful.
Beautiful.
So if you want to just dive right into a few, I could mention one or two that I saw that I thought were great.
So many classics. Yeah, go for it. What is your very favorite winter of severe illness and death carol?
So I got to give a shout out to my boy Sean Farish out on Long Island. He's doing the Stay Loud on Long Island. He said Rudolph the triple vaxxed reindeer. That was probably
beautiful. Yeah. I asked him to retweet that, and that was kind of him. Rudolph the triple vaxxed reindeer. I think he gave another entry too. That was.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Steph suggested, please don't come home for Christmas. Instead of please come home for Christmas, right? You know, this is the new Christmas.
I'll be home for Christmas if only Fauci allows. Like that would be my, like in the parentheses, that would be like my entry.
Yeah. Only if Fauci says so. How about, this was my first one to inaugurate the process. Disinfect the halls with not boughs of holly, but with cleaning solution, of course. Just don't deck.
But you can't get that because the supply chain issues. So what are we going to use?
The cracks in the wall. It's all coming apart.
There's so many good entries. I mean, and the fun part is that this tweet, this did not get enough attention on Twitter. I got to say, I mean, it's the perfect season for stuff that's fun like this. How about
I hate it when that happens. Oh, sorry. I talked over you.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. No, yeah, I'm sorry. It's BBN4_UK. Oh, come all ye fearful.
Yeah. Isn't that the title of this show? Yes. We entitled the show. So I guess you're the winner in the decided judgment of Rules for Retrogrades if you are oh come all ye fearful.
It's so ridiculous.
My other favorite was do you fear what I fear? You know, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. They really made mince out of that.
Sharing all these fears together. It's like what I love it now is it used to be the joy of Christmas, the joy of the birth of our Lord, the Savior, the Redeemer, the new Adam, the fulfillment of and now it's just like, well, what really brings us together is our fear of the cold, the common cold.
Our fear of a moderate cold. Yeah, that's what has united humanity. It united all the left, and they have. Remember when Joe Biden called it a pandemic of the unclean? I mean, that's what unites the left. Collectivism, squishing the little guy who won't get vaxxed. A pandemic of the unclean.
It's beautiful. It's so much more of a positive message than our Lord and Savior.
It is. It's the reason for the season for them. Mm-hmm. The most wonderful time of the year.
I love it.
I also liked Soylent Night. I thought that was just beautiful. You know,
that's a good one. That's a good one. You can't forget about Soylent Night. Silent Night was too, I don't know, uninviting to those who aren't vaccinated. You know, Soylent Night really invites all the vaccinated in, with leaving the unclean out, of course, because we do have to exclude that entire group of people, that like 50% of the U.S. or whatever it is.
Yeah, Silent Night is too inclusive, right? Christ, our Lord, came for all. And that's inappropriate inclusivity, right? Christ really, I think, according to Joe Biden and the left, who generally speaking disdain Christ, he should have only come for the vaccinated. Isn't that right? Most wonderful time of the year for the vaccinated.
I think there's been a lot of good commentary online about that from certain FJs about that, where they're saying, Christ would have been the first one to line up and to just show people the way to just get vaccinated. The Son of Man, God himself, God incarnate, needs a vaccination. Like, have you read the scriptures? What is wrong with you? Like,
This guy went among lepers and healed them. He wasn't getting vaccinated for that. He was not even afraid of leopards. So why is he going to be afraid of someone with a cold? Right?
Tell me you've not read the Bible without telling me you've not read the Bible. Like, oh, he would get all of his vaccines. He would definitely be all for that.
Yeah, that's up there with Jesus said, "Never judge anyone," and that no one's going to hell.
Right. Yeah.
That's how certain bishops tell me they've never read the Bible.
I'm still going through some of these. There's so many good ones.
Little town of
Covidville. That's pretty good.
That's good. I like that.
Any red state they're probably referring to there?
Yeah, right. Any red state who have, generally speaking, lower COVID infections. How about grandma got infected by a reindeer? I like that one.
Classic. Family classic. We've started singing that. How long has this 2 weeks been? It's been 2 years, 2 weeks.
2 years. Yeah, it was an instant classic, and
yeah,
are now, no one wants to hear grandma got run over by a reindeer. It's grandma got infected by a reindeer. Though I fact checked this, Anthony, and guess what?
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19 is not transmutable along species to species communication. So it's not. So this is totally wrong. No, even though it's an instant classic and people are singing "Grandma got infected by a reindeer" around the country, right. It's actually it doesn't follow the science. Would you know?
Interesting. So it's not like it came from a lab or a bat or a no, I'm not even gonna get into that. This is the season for cheer and joy and illness and death, and that's why we're focusing on the illness and death portion right now.
Okay, you didn't bifurcate.
How about
cheer and joy for the vaccinated, sickness and death for the unvaccinated? Go ahead. Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
I just assumed everyone knew. How about here comes COVID clause?
I like that.
I always think like a Freddy Krueger, like claws. When I was a kid, it terrified me. Like it terrified me. And COVID is just like, it's just like needle hands. Here comes COVID claws. It's just the hands full of needles,
Yeah, just an unwashed hand, right? And not even
an unwashed hand.
Yeah, not even a partially hand sanitized hand. Because if you're not, what's one thing we all know about COVID it's our interior sluggardliness and laziness writ large in operation before all the world. When you're just using hand sanitizer, that slimy filth that they give us to put on our hands at every store, you're cashing out, and it's better to use soap and water on your hands and to dry it on a towel like a human being. If you just spray that slimy whatever it is on your hands, and I don't know what the substrate is, then you just know you're not that serious about beating COVID-19, people, which I'm not. So that's why I do it almost nonstop.
I went to a store the other day, and I was when I was walking in, they were like, would you like a mask? And I was like, no, I would not like a mask. Thank you. And then they were like, oh, well, please take some hand sanitizer. And so I was standing there. I'm not going to say the store, right? Because I don't want to get too far into this, but so I put my hand out, and this sanitizer like squirts into your hand, and it's like the foaming one. And there was a trash can next to it. So I did like the Ron Swanson, and I just went and I like threw it in the trash. And I was like, can I actually have another one? And they're like, oh yeah, please go ahead. And then I took another handful and I like threw it in the trash can.
The Ron Swanson fake bacon. Nice.
Just waiting to see how long they would allow me to like continue the farce. Yeah. Is that okay? Is that can I keep, taking samples of this? It's ridiculous at this point. I mean,
how many pumps did they give you? I mean, how long did the first get?
I want to say it was a good 30 seconds or so where people were literally just lining up behind me trying to get into the store. And finally I just, okay, thank you so much. You just rub in the rest of the foam that's left and just keep going on with your day, put it in your latte, whatever you want to do. But yeah, it was just unbelievable.
You, sir, are not, you're not serious about defeating COVID.
No, not
at all. Tell you though, I do. There's nothing fun or funny about COVID aside from most stuff, but I do enjoy curling up by the fireplace in my onesie, listening to "I'm Dreaming of a Black Death Christmas."
Yes.
One of my favorites. It gets me in the winter of severe sickness and death season. It's what's the reason for the season, okay? Don't just be superficial about this, people. The reason for the season, according to Joe Biden, is COVID. And when you guys get all into your, I know all of you get into your commercialism, buying gifts, going out infecting other people. That's against the reason for the season. The reason for the season is we come together, we celebrate one world government and COVID and the heel of the globalist boot crushing our necks. That's the reason for the season. You're all jerks if you think this is about buying presents. Okay.
Yeah. I usually
What's the reason for the season?
I usually spend my Christmases offering prayer and sacrifice with my family for larger, stronger restrictions, control, things to really remind me of who my powers are above me, just so I can remember that. Right. Because sometimes it's easy to forget. Like if I try to go to the store, it's easy to forget. If they ask me, would you like a mask? I want them to force me to wear one, to even allow me inside. Right.
That's what I'm saying, man. People, they go out to these stores, they shop for gifts for a winter of severe sickness and death, and they forget that this is about a higher power, right? The whole season, people, remember, this season, winter of severe sickness and death, it's about a higher power, government globalist power, that is going to crush you under the heel of a boot. And you should be thankful. Okay? Don't forget, don't get all caught up in your superficial gifts. COVID canes, right? Your kids are sipping peppermint flavored hot chocolate. That's probably not vaccinated, probably not safe, probably not even hot enough to kill COVID. You guys there's a higher power out there that's more important. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's COVID, and it's one world government. Okay? Get real. My other favorite is Rudolph the COVID positive reindeer. That's a good one.
Rudolph the COVID. That's really great. There was one that was sort of thrown in that's not directly related to what we're talking about, but it's pretty good. It was Frosty the non-binary snow individual.
Individual. That's
fantastic.
Topical. I mean, that's just, I've listened to that since I was, what am I now? I'm 40. I've listened to that one every winter of severe illness and death season since I was 38. Okay. Since I was a tiny little baby in the manger or whatever. I was 38 years old when I started listening to that one. It was a long 2 years ago. That's over 700 days. That's how much of a classic Frosty the non-binary snow individual is.
I'm still going through a few more of these to see. I didn't
want
to review all of them.
Yeah,
absolutely. We wish you a vaccination.
That's very good. There are lots of
wish you a vaccination. Beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful because it fits very well into the structure of the song. Were you to rewrite it, maybe at some point we'll get the band back together, as they say, and we'll write that classic hit that can, from this point forward, be used by the powers that be.
That captures the reason for the season. All this commercialism, man, when it's all about COVID. There's a great song that doubles as a Christmas carol, which we haven't talked any about Christmas carols today. We're talking about winter of severe illness and death carols, which are much more cheery, I think. But so there's a song that goes by the same name under both categories. It's called In the Bleak Midwinter, which I thought was genius that someone thought that's a real Christmas carol and a COVID carol, or winter of severe illness and death.
The composer of that song really had foresight. They really did.
Yeah, they did. They see, that's COVID inclusivity. They composed that song, I think, a couple hundred years ago for Christmas or whatever season, but they knew that sometime, because they paid attention to the WHO and the WEF and the UN, that there would at some point during the Trump presidency, number 45, be Event 201, and there would be an important reason for the season that I think Joe Biden and all his cronies think is more important than Christmas. So that's somebody also suggested Pato got run over by a reindeer. I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with the reason for the season, but I thought I'd throw it out there.
I saw mom infecting Santa Claus. That's it's kind of a graphic image, but that's also a good.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly the basis on which COVID is infectious or contagious, but this kid could have been
never know.
Any level of scarred, right? I don't know how mom's infecting Santa Claus, but still, it is
like
a
Typhoid
COVID
Mary. Maybe it's I'll envision like a Typhoid Mary situation. So just maybe preparing Christmas dinner from whatever we could scrounge together off the shelves that are bare right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because hey, you can't go to the store. That's again commercialism. People, it's COVID. You stay in. You eat your old green beans in cans. You make a COVID feast out of corn, green beans, things you would normally be giving away at canned food drives. That if you care about the reason for the season, which is COVID, then you have a good time. Okay, we're getting, I don't want to call it the bottom of the pile. Well, you know, we wish you a merry quarantine. We're getting to these are still, I enjoy these entries, but we're getting to the entries that are less syllable specific, right? The ones that we tend to all love are the ones that counted the syllables in the Christmas Carol and went for the COVID Carol. I also like Presley's Flu Christmas, before I forget.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be a flu Christmas without you.
Flu Christmas.
Oh, how about this is actually probably this is my runner-up, is deck the halls with lots of bodies.
Didn't see that one. But yes, that guy gets it. He's in the spirit of of severe illness and death. How many of these so-called COVID carols, right, are commercialist and sell out, and they don't even make any mention of corpses or bodies stacked up? That is what the season is all about, according to Joe Biden. And you know, this guy really he gets it. You know, that's the kind of guy we could have a beer with. I just came across that one. He's the same guy that did a spinoff on I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. It's a little dirty. It's a little blue for this show, so I'm not going to mention it. But it's that entry is right above that one. How about some people are just doing lyrics instead of show titles? Away in a manger, songs, no place for unvaxxed. Sleepy Joe Biden gave Jill his used mask. I know what to do without being asked. I'll send them to FEMA camps and make them pay tax. So that's artistic.
I swear,
not a title.
Looking through these tweets, the people that participate in this stuff are really the fun people on Twitter that are doing it for the right reasons, I think. I mean, there's always so much bad about Twitter, but there's really some fun to be had if you're really willing to just, you know, unwind, just let your hair down, you know, just have a little fun.
Yeah, just let your James Martin hair down, you know, relax. And when you go on Catholic Twitter, the 120 of you that liked this tweet, the 120 cool people on Catholic Twitter, let's say that, they're not there to hate and to exclude, right? These people are there for encounter. They're there to meet each other at the periphery. And I mean, seriously, most people go on Twitter for what? To do war. See, I would make this case, since you brought it up, Anthony. YouTube, generally speaking, as a social media, is a force for good. Think about it. Think of I mean, I'm not even being silly now. I've been silly the whole show. It's hard to transition to an analytic voice or a serious voice, but the content, the content creation, the alternative television media that is provided by this platform, that's proffered by YouTube, is really a net big plus. You know what I mean? I mean, think of, and people don't also, if you read the comments, sometimes people just come on to bitch about stuff, but most of the time the comments are just like, they're not even super clever. They're like, thanks for doing the show. This was really good. Or they'll be sometimes really clever. Every once in a while, you get the you know, illiterate haters that usually are hanging out on Twitter. They take a breath on Twitter to come over and say something illiterate and hateful on the YouTube comments. But the YouTube content makers, like, I don't know, yours truly, and the content viewers, also like yours truly, tend to be much more positive and there's just a net good coming out of YouTube. But then Twitter is almost nothing but hate. It's only there to argue. The longer I've been on it, the more I realize it's there to argue. Most of us go on a few times. Both of us have big families, getting ready for this merry, joyous, winter of extreme illness and death, or whatever it's called.
Was it extreme or severe? Because I want to make that that's right.
It's severe. It's severe.
Okay.
I keep getting tongue tied when I'm trying to say it, but we have families, so we don't jump on too much. But when we go on Twitter, it's to try to make it fun. But that's not what people are there for. That's not what the medium's for. And you can tell when you have a genius tweet like mine, and you're getting a mild to moderate amount of responses from the cool people out there. But people, particularly on Catholic Twitter, which is not a lot of the viewers of the show, are on there to cause trouble, to be divisive. And James Martin SJ doesn't like divisive. They're on there to be divisive. They're on there to cause trouble, to hate on each other, and to argue over the luminous mysteries. That's what Catholic Twitter was created for, right? Just losery topics to be bandying about in the legit season of the incarnation.
There's always the recycling too, which I just can't stand anymore. There's so many things that are just boring to discuss. There's, I don't know, like 2,000 years of things to talk about, and we're just going to focus on 6 or 7 things that I were always focused on, and it's so exhausting and annoying. So when there's something fun to focus on, something that can bring a little bit of happiness to people maybe, or give you some time away from it, it's really nice. I wish that had a lot more traction. I mean, really, when you think about it.
Something that captures the essence of the season of severe illness and death, is what we're here to celebrate, you and I. And that's what the real Catholics on Twitter understood this. What we're about is a higher power, not just going out to the stores and infecting people. It's the power of the government heel crushing our necks. That's the higher power.
Yeah,
that's what matters. This
just to be constantly reminded of that is beautiful during this time of year. It's my favoriteest thing. My absolute favoriteest thing.
Me too. It's the real meaning of cultura, right? Is not just the people around you, but the government and the people together, coming together to celebrate government power and how we could be crushed at any minute by this Leviathan one world government of a new world order that it's trying to convince you that a cold is a big deal. That's what the season's about, people. You're
Absolutely.
jerks.
Absolutely.
If you just make this about gifts or hams or getting tinsel on your COVID trees. Don't be a jerk. It's about the higher power. Fauci is it.
Beautiful. There's beautiful like Twitter posts of people who have trees set up, and they've got masks on portions of them. They've got like, I hope they're like props, but there's like needles sticking out of the tree. In Seattle, it's probably just real. Like they just walked around the street and like picked them up, and put them in the tree and like stuck them in there, like holly or whatever it is that I don't even know. My wife probably decorates the tree, sticking like greenery or I don't even know what you put in. Why would you put greenery in a tree? But anyways, like literally masks, needles, all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's insane. It is absolutely delusional craziness. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it's me I need to fix. I need to get in the spirit of that.
Yeah, man. I was just going to say, you're sounding like, I don't know, like Event 201's good denizens would call you vaccine skeptical, right? Mm-hmm. And that's, here's another thing, bub. You got another thing coming. You're coming to celebrate New Year's Eve with us, and you just described our COVID tree. So,
oh wow, fantastic! Well, I'm happy to keep an open mind and learn all about it.
We have needles, we have masks on our COVID
now,
tree.
Children, 1 needle per person.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
yeah.
No, hold on. Wait, no, Fauci says 2 needles per person. No, hold on. Yeah. No, I think he says 3 needles per person.
Yeah.
Well, this may become an annual thing. Hold on.
Yeah, you got to check the news by the 5 minutes. Well, we let our kids decorate our tree, and we don't do the artistic repurposing after they go to bed. We just let them do their crummy job on the tree. And so we never undo it. So all of our
Oh.
COVID tree decorations, all the needles are toward the bottom because of their stumpy arms and their little hands. You know how
That's
people do
perfect.
that with their COVID
Because
trees?
then my small children can reach them all. That's perfect.
Yeah. No, do you what's the boss family philosophy about you decorate your COVID tree with your little ones, and
Well,
then you send them to bed, and it looks, if we're being honest, somewhat bad. And so, do you repurpose it? Do you reallocate the ornaments and the things to the top of the tree, or do you just leave it, come as you are, sort of thing?
well, Sweet D is very smart. So what she does is, I remember the last time we talked, it's like, what do
Yeah.
we call her? So we call her Sweet D. So
Yeah.
she has 2 Christmas trees. She has one for the children in their bedroom, and they can turn that into a Picasso piece. And then we have an actual Christmas tree that we use for the public to consume downstairs, and that's the one that she will decorate. She doesn't even let them touch that. They can look at it, but if they touch it, big problems in Chinatown. So yeah, that's how we've learned to tackle this. We also are. I'm an idiot, and I allowed my daughter to get a couple of cats. I never recommend cats. Cats are the worst thing on earth. I am a dog person who fell into the trap of listening to my daughter and allowing her to get a cat. So this year we have to have a tree that's like farther off the ground, so that these weird disease-carrying things don't just like climb it and pull things off, and it's the worst thing on earth. So it looks really ridiculous this year. But the masks and needles really tie it together. So yeah,
that's the good part. No matter how bad a job one's children do decorating the COVID tree, the masks and the needles have a natural aesthetic that will carry you through to the big day, the big day, which is Anthony Fauci's birthday, which is this time of year. So it's a big deal.
The nice thing
Also,
is the needles. The needles, when you prick your finger on a needle on accident, that feeling stays with you as a child. As you grow, you remember that sting of Christmas. That sting of the needles.
The sting of the COVID tree. Yeah, it sticks with you the whole. Yeah, the entire
we're
year.
Sensory
long.
beings, and so it really sticks with you. You remember that poke, that prick, and it's beautiful. It just enlightens the imagination.
It does. It's so piquant. Even in summer, I think about my COVID tree from time to time, and that's what best reminds the 5 senses is the accidental little pricks throughout the year, throughout the COVID season. That sounded wrong. I meant on the needles, folks.
All the pricks we encounter throughout the year. All the pricks
Lots
we
on
encounter
Twitter,
throughout the year they remind us of the season and the reason. So that's
the reason for the season is the higher power, right? We just, I know I'm being a broken record about that, but we want to make sure here on Rules for Retrogrades to be real clear that the reason for the season is not presents or shopping. It is covering yourself, vaccinating yourself, and the higher power that will knock down your door if you don't, as you shop, as you buy presents. Get real, people. Don't be jerks. Seriously, you guys are going to hang out with us for New Year's Eve? I think we're going to, if you can get here early enough, I think we're going to do a little early New Year's Eve hunt with my friend, Dr. Michael Robillard. But what are you guys doing for Christmas Eve? Okay, let's put aside COVID Eve and the children's favorite winter of severe sickness and death. What are you guys doing for Christmas Eve and Christmas? We'll talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So actually for Christmas Eve, we do the Feast of Seven Fish, which is a traditional Italian celebration, I guess. And it's abstaining from meat on Christmas Eve in the Feast of Our Lord of Christmas Day. So we have 7 different types of fish dishes that we do. And it signifies a few things, like the 7 sacraments of the church, obviously, is a pretty big deal. 7 is represented in scriptures quite often as I don't know, I'll say something wrong, so everyone's going to jump on it, like a perfect number or a godly number, whatever it is. But there's also the 7 hills of Rome in Italy that the city is founded in. And so it represents a lot of things from both Rome and, of course, from the church itself. And so we pick the 7 dishes. We invite friends and family over. That's why y'all are not coming. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Terrible.
that's what I was gonna say. We invite our favorite people naturally.
Yeah. No. So, so we're having our priest is coming over. Father Clark's coming, and he's a fantastic guy who you actually had the pleasure of meeting this last weekend. So he'll be coming out to hang out for the Feast of Seven Fish. That's our biggest event, I guess, for Christmas Eve, and we just make that a big thing. So we've actually invited people from the neighborhood to get involved who haven't really heard about that or have ever experienced it, and it's a great way to evangelize and to get the neighbors involved and to kind of to bring them in. So that's our big plan for Christmas Eve.
Yeah. See, you got to represent. You're Italian on your father's side, right? I'm Italian on my mother's side, so I can play it down. You have to pretend to be proud about being Italian. I can play it way down, right? I got a Scottish last name, but I'm totally Italian. Well, on my mom's last name is Guadagno, which means make money, make money, make money, make money. Grifting on Twitter, grifting on social media. Boom. Guadagno. It means I earn, baby. You hear that?
That's the way to do it.
I've got a couple rap releases on YouTube about that too. But yeah, so I get to play it down. You got to own it, man, because it's in your last name. So
I'm always proud of the Italian part of my family. I won't ever discuss or talk about the other parts of my family. So it doesn't even matter. I mean, who cares?
You're not allowed to. Yeah, you see, that's the psyop. You have to pretend. Yeah, I get it.
No, I just don't. It's all about the patriarchy. So like my mother's side, I don't really care where they came from, where they're going. We don't evangelize to them. We just it's a joke. That is a joke. We obviously do, but yeah, no, it's all about my mother's side.
She's so mad. She's watching right now.
I don't think my mother could actually figure out how to even use a cell phone that doesn't just text. I really don't think she could get the internets. She's the lady that will. If I could tell a quick anecdote here, she called me and was like, "I have this new this new player to hook up to my TV," and she says, "I really need help." I said, "Yeah, okay. What do you need?" I'm kind of a tech guy, and she says, "I don't know how to get it to work." And I said, "Well, what is it?" Like, it's this Blu-ray player thing. It's with this new TV. So I said, okay. She's like, there's nowhere to plug in the colored cables. There's the yellow, the white, and the red. And I said, well, what does it say? And she said, it says HDMI. And it's one cable. It's one cable. So I said, take the one cable from the device to the one spot in the TV that it matches. And that's it. You're done. Well, right. But how do I get like the yellow and the red? I mean, 30 minutes I spent with this woman.
Yeah.
They make it easier for these people and they can't figure it out. It's like, blows my mind. So that's why I disowned that side of the family. I don't talk about it. It's embarrassing.
If one was born between 1946 and 1963 or 64, then they're not, you're blaming, you're hating, right? That's not in the season of severe illness and death, right? That the season of severe illness and death is all about not blaming your boomer relatives who were born between 1946 and 1963 for the fact that they can't do anything like that. So you have to just accept it and be like, it's a disability that, to plug in wires. They can't do it.
It's one.
You're hating, which is against Santa Fauci. He doesn't.
What are you all doing for Christmas Eve? You actually didn't mention that. I was curious.
So we're going to go to the mass. We always take a drive through this neighborhood over here. It's a new tradition we've taken on. We will be doing a honey baked turkey in an interesting twist on the usual honey baked ham. You thought I was going ham. And we do one COVID present, just for safety's sakes. We like to get them an extra mask, a decorative mask. And then the kids will actually go to, I think a lot of white Anglo-Saxon Protestant people's kids go to bed a little later on Christmas Eve. Our kids who go to bed pretty late usually go to bed a little earlier on COVID Eve. Yeah, because they don't want to be awake for COVID Claus, who knows if they're sleeping. He knows if they're awake. He knows
if they're vaccinated.
He knows if they've been vaxxed. So get vaxxed, for goodness sake. That's and the children's voices ring throughout the land, singing those wondrous lines.
Awesome.
Yeah. What else do we do? We let them open a present on COVID Eve. Do you let what's your COVID tradition? Do you let them open a present?
Well, We have family from out of town who doesn't get to come visit all the time. So they came down and they brought some presents that they brought. So we actually had like a smaller thanks Christmas, and we had Thanksgiving plus Christmas sort of wrapped all together with that. And then so they did it with family. And then now for Christmas Day, then of course they'll just they'll open gifts on Christmas morning. So normally we would go like midnight mass, get home, wicked late, or basically get no sleep, just and then the Christmas morning is just alcohol fueled brutality at that point, trying to keep up with the children and getting all the trash taken out and doing that. So I think we normally do like a ham on Christmas Day. I think we might be doing brisket this year. I'll have to find that out. Actually, I'm not sure. The chef is detained elsewhere. So
You said that it's family that can't come and visit all the time. You realize, of course, that if they visited all the time, that would just be called living with you, correct? I just wanted to point that out.
that does follow. So yes,
And it wouldn't be as much fun either.
No, absolutely not. I love people that I can't see very often. That's why we're like the closest of friends. We can never hang out. No, yeah, you're right. It does. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, and in the case of in-laws, that's especially true. So
That's 10 times more true in the case of in-laws, sometimes 100 times more true. No, that's what the COVID season is all about, is getting together with your relatives and making sure that you argue lots about vaccinations. That is the
how do you
also the
how
reason.
do you do this? So do you have them hold the card up to like the Ring camera? Do you have them put it in like a plastic bag and hold it to the window before you like? How do you know to let them in?
Yeah, of course, while I'm armed. I'm
Well,
usually armed at the door.
Obviously, yeah, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it goes without saying, but yeah, and I just shout in with if I can, a German kind of guttural accent at them, show me your papers, and
Okay,
it
that's
works.
good.
It's been an efficient system, very few externalities in that system.
Are you holstered or unholstered when you do that?
Oh, I'm drawing down on them.
Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say because they could get froggy, and you never know what they're gonna do, so you just got to be careful of that.
No, I
My
know. That's
thing
why
is,
yeah.
we just had a company come out recently. We had a GoFundMe for this, and they installed one of those tube systems that the bank has, and you just politely insert your COVID cards, and then you stick that in the tube. It comes through, and then we can check it. We can verify it. I found a Pfizer hotline, so I can call Pfizer, and they're telling me this is the case, but I sure don't know. The thing is, though, is you do have to double bag it because I don't want to actually touch the card that these diseased people have touched. So
yeah, you burn it. Obviously, that's what a COVID fire is all a seasonal.
Well,
COVID
that's why they bring 3 copies. It's one for me, one to burn, and then one to just in case they lose one on the way. So yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Do they want to gain access into your home or not? Come on. I'm very envious. We'd like to make that switch as well. The banking tube system, just expensive.
It works well. It works very well for everything. Yeah.
I mean, again, I want to go back to my very favorite. If I had the tube system, by the way, family would be welcome at my house for COVID Eve. But because we don't, I'm just going to say this, and you guys read between the lines. You ready? Parish orphans and retrogrades. My very favorite season of severe illness and death carol is called Please Don't Come Home for Christmas. Okay? Read between the lines.
Sure, you can't just read the lyrics to this. Read between the lines.
Yeah, I guess that's just read the title of the song.
Just read the lyrics and enjoy it. It's fine. We can have fun from afar. I'm actually surprised. So I did want to say this too, and this is funny because we kind of just brought it up naturally because we're so good at this. But the companies haven't pushed more, which I thought they would, like the whole video conference Christmases type stuff. I haven't seen anyways. Have you? But it's like, oh, we'll use Zoom for the holidays, or use this camera system in your home for the holidays. That's a camera system throughout your entire house that you just put on the internet, and then everyone else can use that to get into your house. And it's completely secure. No one will ever have a way into it other than your family and the people that you want to have access to this. Like, I'm surprised that they haven't, because this is the perfect opportunity to push that.
It is. They missed an opportunity here. I'm surprised too. And also I'm in Mississippi, people like reddest of the red states, but the mall, I've been at the mall a lot. I'm going to take my last daughter to the mall to shop for her COVID gifts. Or not my last daughter, but the last one that I'm taking. I don't take the baby. I don't take the baby to the mall. Oh, my last, well, who knows? Who's to say? But the last daughter in line is actually living in the body of my wife currently. Have I told the parish orphans and retrogrades that Steph is pregnant with our 7th? And of course, it's another girl. We had one boy.
Wow.
6. And so she is extra infectious now because she's a pregnant woman. And I'm just going to go ahead and assume that she's extra infectious as a pregnant woman. So I'm just trying to bring it back to COVID. But so it's a lovely, it makes the COVID season that much more magical, doesn't it? Having a pregnant wife.
I think it's interesting because I was just talking to Sweet D about this, and she was saying, I wonder, boy or girl, have they found out? Have we talked yet? And I don't think we had addressed that. So I'll let her know right after this, and she'll be very surprised.
Oh,
so
seven
7 brides for 7 boys, or what's that old musical that everybody talks about?
Oh,
7
yeah.
brides for 7 brothers.
Yep. We only have one brother, and well, these are his sisters anyway. This isn't we're not in Utah, people. But yeah, one brother, 6 sisters. My son is gonna have.
So happy that you're raising 6 daughters to love the patriarchy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, people, all the people out there, I want to take a moment to apologize to 0% of you, 0.0, none of you. If you didn't like the tweet from a couple weeks back, or you don't like this is being called by some people around my home the greatest book ever written, The Case for Patriarchy. There are going to be 6 young ladies that are going to be reading this, and they're going to be militant. They're going to throw the corner of the book at your head. The Case for Patriarchy. They're lovely young ladies, and beautiful and sweet. They take after their mother with a little bit of fire. She's got a lot of fire, but yeah. So it makes it that much more special to be a patriarch who loves being a patriarch, having 6 or so daughters. Who's to say how many daughters I really have? We're not even 100% sure.
I'm trying to match up. I'm trying to match up the number of boys that we have with the number of girls that y'all have.
Right. Or arranged marriages. Very, very with it. Very
because right now we have the 4 boys and 1 girl. So that's right now that's inversely almost proportional. We will try to keep up. So we'll see what happens.
You need to get busy, literally and figuratively, to catch up. What are you doing, man? That's like
listen. Family. I'm still waiting to verify whether or not she's been vaccinated, and she will not provide proof of vaccination. So I mean,
that's true. You can't have mommy infecting COVID clause, right? That should be a capital offense. No, anyway, we're very excited about the baby that is currently inhabiting my wife's body, and she will issue forth in what, 6 months, 5 or 6 months?
Yeah.
Issue forth is an interesting way to say that.
Creepy or weird.
You know, the thing is like we will definitely pray for y'all because we are so happy and excited, and hopefully everybody, parish orphans and retrogrades will pray for you as well. I'm sure they will. You've got like the greatest people. I've been with you a few times when you meet people who watch your show, read the books and things, and they're really awesome. So hopefully they'll be praying for y'all and stuff too. But we definitely will. So.
No, thanks, man. Thanks. That's actually the only reason why it's worth making the announcement at this point. Well, not on Twitter. That's a different crowd. But yeah, the people watching the show are literally like some of the greatest people I've ever met. I'm so appreciative for the supporters of this show this time of the year. And I would appreciate your prayers. That's why we want to tell you guys. Also, again, totally different crowds. You know, YouTube crowd, we love you guys. Twitter crowd, no comment, not as much. I've made tons of comments throughout this program. You know how I feel. But so the point is, yeah, Steph is pregnant. We, have an unspecified number of children, because anytime really with a big family, you come home from the mall, you're not 100%, you're like 96% sure that someone else's kid didn't slip in there. So like, who's to say? No, not like a kidnapping. I mean, like you get them in the minivan, no intentional kidnapping involved. I've never done that. Never would. But you get home and you're like, hey, who's here? Do we have all of you? And then everyone just says yes. Who's to say that that's those are all your biological kids?
You're never number one. See, I've got a real risk of that because I have enough seats for literally just random people to be in my vehicle and not know about it.
You do. You actually do. Though,
But
for the record,
are
because
Yeah, go ahead.
there are feds listening. I'm not intentional, right? We're just saying when you have a large family and kids start interacting, they're not COVID sensitive individuals. Kids, they don't care. They're idiots. They're not even trembling in their boots about COVID. They go around and
Yeah.
they make friends with strangers. They're nice to people. They're not afraid of this tiny little cold. They're not susceptible to brainwashing. Kids are they're foolish, aren't they? They go there living their lives like normal during this season of severe illness and death. And so they'll make friends. They'll be talking at the mall. And all of a sudden you have to say, hey, let this little individual go back with his probably non-vaccinated family. Ew.
The small children are like the antithesis of New Yorkers, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they are.
Opposite of New Yorker.
Yeah.
They make friends. They're polite. They're cordial. They're unvaccinated. They're touching and being friends. And yeah, it's unreal.
They're trusting, laughing, joyful. That when they do laugh, it's not a mirthless laugh of the damned. That's a New Yorker, right? I hate New Yorkers.
Absolutely.
No, actually,
I don't personally hate New Yorkers. I just want to put that out there.
I'm just joking. No, we have lots of friends of the show are in New York. I just wanted to say that in the spirit of COVID Eve. But yeah, Joe Boca, a great friend of this program.
Did you know that Boca means mouth? Did you know that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Did you know that Guadagno means I grift?
The other thing, by the way, with that randomly picking up children this time of year, neither of us have done. It's like I'm always worried I'm gonna do the McAllister where I'm like counting heads from the children. Like, one, and then there's just some a-hole from down the street is like playing in the van, and I count them, and then like I leave one of my children at home or something.
Yeah, why did that kid know so much about the transmission of vans?
He did it. He was asking questions about it. He was saying, "Is this thing automatic? Does this thing have 4-wheel drive? Does this thing?"
But I mean, the thing is, like, you would do that if your neighbor got a Ferrari, right? There are kids. Me and my friends knew all the stats on the new Ferraris, the new Lamborghinis, the new Porsches. But like, why would a kid come around? I think that's the big plot hole. Why would you go to like a van? Like an airport van and be like, what are the performance stats on this vehicle? That
if anybody knows kids, they will see a van that isn't familiar with a man that they don't know with the door open and they will go straight for it. That's the point.
Right. Because they're not.
So joke's on you because that's exactly what they will do.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's just part of the seasonal magic. Look, man. So this is basically standing in for our in not of podcast within a podcast because we're talking about how we're celebrating the season and what is the reason for the season. It is Fauci Claus, the force from above that will crush us.
Blessed be his name.
Blessed be his name. Right? Peace be upon him. I wish I could say that in Arabic. I need to say Fauci's name.
Do something guttural.
Yeah, just sneeze.
Inshallah.
Makaya Kalam. All right. Well, God bless you, Anthony, because I'm not going to see you for Xmas. You won't see me, but I will. I will have the tube system in place for for New Year's Eve. We'll see you then. Give the family and Sweet D our regards, and be assured of ours as well. I hope you get 3 or 4 or maybe 5 more vaccines before I see you in a week. And God bless all of you. Yeah.
Let me say thanks to everybody who was praying for my son who was having a crazy fever and sickness and things. I shared that he was sick and like it was like I don't know a couple hundred likes. It was crazy. It's probably the biggest tweet I've had, which is great. I love that about Twitter. That's a beautiful thing. So thank you all. I know you and Steph and the kids are praying as well. So thank you all so much. He's doing much better. He's still coming out of that, he's rounding the corner. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm more than glad we were praying. It's funny. There are people that have realized this algorithmic insight on Twitter, the prayer requests. I'm not saying you do this. You definitely did.
Oh yeah, no.
But some people, every tweet, because the most tweets, the only time Catholic Twitter is ever half decent is when someone asks someone to pray for them. Anything else, they want to argue about the luminous mysteries or something boring like that, pro or against.
Yeah.
And cut someone up psychologically, dissect, psychologize. Oh, we need to pray for this person's family because they do or don't say the luminous mysteries, that they're probably abusive. That's Catholic Twitter 99% of the time. But if you make a prayer request, everyone will actually like it and say they will pray for you, which begins to approach looking Catholic. But the funny thing is, some people have figured this out, and certain Twitter accounts, tends to be a lot of the e-girls, Catholic e-girls, I notice, is nothing but prayer requests, or like the one-liners. This one also cracks me up, just like the first line of a prayer. They're like, Hail Mary, full of grace. And that's the tweet. It's like, well, I learned that when I was in like kindergarten, but that's the whole thing, because everyone likes it.
Did you think to tweet it?
Yeah, I didn't. Dang it. Such a clever tweet, just picking the first. It's funny, their entire Twitter accounts, many of them the e-girls, that just do prayer requests and first line of a prayer nonstop, and they get like 8 million likes. It's a sham. I hate Twitter, but I love all of you. God bless you. Merry Christmas. We can now say, without the humbugs out there saying don't say Merry Christmas too early. We're through the penitential part of the season, and they are united, by the way. Merry Christmas to you, Anthony. God bless you all. Thank you all for supporting this program. Patrons, hail, not full of grace, but lots of grace. Thank you all very much. And we'll probably do a show or two next week, but it's not going to be the 3 a week. This will be it until after Christmas, unless something ginormous happens. Anthony, God bless you, man. Thanks, everyone. Deus Volt. Be ready for COVID year number 3, 2022. It's just around the corner.